Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Skald Stories. Now, today we're going to be looking at neutral evil. Ooh, now we're getting into the good stuff, huh? So, what is neutral evil? Well, when it comes to the alignments, the key difference is that good alignments help people, and evil alignments harm people. Now, the thing with lawful evil on that scale is they don't mind helping people so long as it fits their goals, so long as it aligns with their objective, or it helps them hide in plain sight. Oh, that guy's a really nice person. He likes to help out around, but actually he's like a serial killer. That kind of thing. But neutral evil and chaotic evil are where that line blur. Well, we'll be talking about chaotic evil next time. For now, on that sense, neutral evil is more about not giving a shit, to put it lightly. They're uncaring. They do things because they want to, not because they have to, not because they should, but because it's what fits them at the time. However, unlike chaotic evil, they are not agents of chaos looking for mass destruction. They actually have a plan. They actually have a goal. They actually have a desired outcome. They just don't give a rat's ass how they get there or who they have to step over in order to get there. And it took me a while to think of someone who would help represent this. And then I remembered how much I love Power Rangers, and I give to you this man. The galactic, the universally despised Ivan Ooze. Oh, yes. From the first Power Rangers movie, we get this badass, Ivan Ooze. Now, I will first apologize because the download that I had for this movie was not the greatest quality because it's been a while since I've seen this, but I still had the movie. So the quality of the pictures will be a little off. And again, like always, spoiler alerts. So if you don't want to know what happens in this movie, go watch it and then come back because this movie rules. If you're a big Power Rangers fan, you have to see this. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. Sorry about that. So, what happens in our story? Well, we come across an egg. A simple egg. Our story begins in a construction site where they come across a strange egg. And anyone that tries to touch this egg is zapped with electricity. So they basically quarantine it off with, I think, 2 security guards watching it because that's realistic. But then Lord Zed, Rita Repulsa, Goldar, and I believe the pig's name is Morton. Something like that. I don't know. I think this is the only time you really see him. Anyway, they show up, put the guards to sleep, and then Lord Zed knows who's in this egg. It's Ivan Ooze. He is one of the most powerful wizards that ever existed in the universe. So, Lord Zed wants him to defeat the Power Rangers because they're giving him trouble. And this is way later down the series. This is like, I forget when this takes place, but it's a transitional period. I think from the Thunder Zords, the Thunder Megazords, I believe, were taken out at this point. Something like that. I know the White Ranger is in this one, so I believe this takes place after the Thunder Megazord. Anyway, so Lord Zed zaps the egg and it splits open, and inside is just a pile of goo. And Rita touches it and she's like, "Really? We came all this way for a pile of snot?" And Zed's like, "Be quiet and watch this." And the goo comes together and it forms into our hero, Ivan Ooze. Now, when he first pops out, Rita's like, "Oh wow, he's handsome," and he blows her a kiss, and he's like, "Oh, why, thank you." He comes off as nice. He comes off as fine, for a villain. And then Lord Zed says, "Does the name Zordon of Eltar mean anything to you?" And Ivan Ooze just starts zapping lightning into the sky and screaming. And Morton's like, "I think he's heard of him." And then Zed's like, "I want you to destroy him so that once again my evil will reign supreme." And Ivan Ooze says, "I will not only destroy him, I will obliterate his entire legacy, so that as if Zordon of Eltar never existed." So already we're experiencing above and beyond here. A lawful evil character would do this for a price, or perhaps a sort of a deal. But when he gets released, he says, "How can I ever repay you?" He's willing to throw him a bone, because he was trapped in an egg for, I think, 6,000 years, something like that. So it's fair that he's willing to cut a deal, or not cut a deal, but to throw a reward. But after this, Rita says, "Finally, a real man," and Ivan Ooze blows her a kiss. And so they leave, and Ivan Ooze stays behind, having been given his objective. And he smells around, and he smells teenagers, which is yeah, which is the Power Rangers. They come by. Excuse me, I just woke up. So they come by, and to make things short, Tommy basically says to him, "We're the Power Rangers," and Ivan Ooze just kind of jokes with them, says, "I'm Ivan Ooze. I'm awesome. Pleasure to meet your acquaintance. We're the Power Rangers. Ooh, where's my autograph book?" He's mocking them. A lawful evil character wouldn't do that. They wouldn't openly mock somebody in a joking way. They're manipulators and tyrants. They want you to believe them. They want you to be on their side. This is the first jump in evil that doesn't give a shit. So, what does Ivan Ooze do? He summons a bunch of his little ooze soldiers, because he mocks Zordon and says, "Oh, you must be Zordon's little teenagers. Well, meet my kids." And these are his. And, he escapes after that. Why? I don't know why he doesn't just fight them himself, but evil is cowardice. They always do this. Every movie villain does this, so it's whatever. So, Power Rangers fight the Ooze Soldiers. Ooze Soldiers are defeated. But as this is happening, Ivan Ooze actually finds the command center itself. Lord Zed and Rita never thought to do that, to just openly attack the command center itself. But Ivan does. Ivan finds it immediately, and I know Alpha 5 tried to hit him. He gave him like a karate chop, and then Ivan Ooze just zapped him with his electricity. And Ivan's like, "I was stuck in that thing for 6,000 years. I've missed all these things, and it's time to pay the piper." And he literally pulls out a pipe and starts zapping things and destroying the command center. He says, like, "I missed the Black Plague. I missed the Spanish Inquisition. I missed the Brady Bunch reunion." These horrible atrocities that happen in human life. So, but here's another thing that happens. He destroys Zordon's tank, but he leaves him there. Now, didn't Ivan Ooze say he was going to destroy Zordon's legacy to the point where it will be as if he never existed? So what the fuck is this? Well, he wants Zordon to suffer. He doesn't just want to snap his fingers and take him out like that. No, 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 no. Neutral evil wants pain. They want suffering. And that's what he wants to inflict right here. He knows that Zordon's going to die without his tank. That's just a given. And the fact that the command center is completely thrashed, well, I'm not really sure what that does, because the Rangers Yeah, I think their powers do go. Yeah, I think their powers do go because of the command centers cut off and all that jazz and blah, 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 blah. So, what is Ivan Ooze's goal after this? Well, he goes back to Zed and Rita, and they ask him, okay, so they've been destroyed, or the Power Rangers are still alive. But what the hell? I told you to destroy the Power Rangers. And Ivan Ooze says, you know what? I think management is to blame here. So I'm declaring myself the new leader. So he goes and he sits down on Lord Zed's chair. And everyone's like, what the fuck, dude? We set you free. We let you out. And Ooze is like, yeah, cool. You let me out. Thanks. I'm in charge now. You see, neutral evil owes nothing to nobody. And if they do, they don't care. They will throw you a bone, maybe, sometimes, usually. Ivan Ooze was kind about that. When he said, hey, is there anything I can do to repay you for releasing me after 6,000 years? You know, I'm willing to toss you something. But now at the drop of a hat, he betrays them. Why? Because he's not going to work under anybody. Not a chance. He's Ivan Ooze. He doesn't work under anybody. So he sits down in Zed's chair. Zed zaps him with his lightning and is completely ineffective against Ooze. Ooze basically turns around and says, okay, my turn. And he zaps them and turns them into a snow globe. He doesn't kill them. He doesn't destroy them. He could, I'm sure. He turns them into a snow globe. So they're tiny, stuck in a snow globe, and every now and then he'll shake it to make it snow. And he's like, I love snow globes. And he turns the snow globe to Goldar and Morton, and he's like, either you serve me or you can join these dingle dorks. And of course, Goldar and Morton betray them and say, yeah, we're working for you. So, why does this matter? Because neutral evil is between that layer of chaos and order, between chaotic evil and lawful evil. Neutral evil wants things to work like a cog in the machine. However, what that cog is doing could be replaced. It could be changed or fixed or straight up taken out. That's what he's done. Lord Zed and Rita would force a power control, which he doesn't want. So they're out of the picture. A lawful evil character would find a way to perhaps make them turn on each other. So that way they take each other out and they just assume control. Or he finds some way for them, basically any way that they can inadvertently keep their hands clean while also letting Zed and Rita get taken out somehow. Neutral evil doesn't care. It says, all right, fine, I want you out of the picture, so here you go. The common theme of neutral evil is that they do things on a whim, but not to the extreme. Chaotic evil does things on a whim, but they take it too far. Neutral does just enough so that it matters, but not so much that it disrupts the plan. I'll give you an example. So, what is Ivan Ooze's ultimate goal? He has some machines called ectomorphicons, which are these giant, like, war machines that were buried alongside him, because that's smart. So, how does he get these out? Well, he's going to need workers. And how does he get these workers? He creates a slime factory. You know, ooze and slime is basically his thing. I don't know where the electricity part comes in. I'm no chemist. But his whole thing is slime. Now, he finds an entire factory and he zaps this tank and it starts spraying out ooze. I'm going to completely ignore The implications of this, because he does it to another tank and he does it to those giant gears in the back. So he starts up this ooze factory, okay? And he takes all of this ooze and he puts it in these little bottles. And then he dresses up as a wizard. He dresses up as a wizard and goes to a local fair where he's handing out these bottles of ooze, and he's rhyming, he's cracking jokes, and he says it's free, give it away, haha, it's a bottle of slime. I'm not really sure why kids would get excited over like silly putty, basically. It's like a really watery silly putty. So whatever. But he's giving it away, he's passing it out, and this will come into play later. So he even goes so far as to hijack a news broadcast to peddle this stuff. It's completely free. So already people should be seeing red flags, but they don't. So he basically spreads this ooze all around Angel Grove. Why, you may ask? Because it takes over the minds of people that touch it. So what happens is all of the parents of the kids that got it, if they touch the ooze, they get mind controlled and they start walking towards the construction site. And they're the ones that start digging up the ectomorphicons. So already, he's not being subtle like a lawful evil character would be. He's being very open about his deception. He gave kids a quote unquote toy. And because the parents touch it, like imagine looking out the window and you see like 200 people just walking down the street in the same direction like zombies. That's kind of a cause for concern. But Ivan doesn't care because his objective is getting fixed. And he will take out any resistance no problem. So, he doesn't care. Here's further proof that he doesn't care. So during the construction, he's just sitting there holding a drink, watching everything happen. All the parents are digging away, slaving away. And he looks at Goldar and says, "Oh, God, I'm bored. Let's have some fun." And he shouts at one of the workers, and he tells him to dance. So he goes through like 2 or 3 dances, and this is actually a key part in that alignment because he is stopping this person from working in order to humiliate them and get some entertainment out of the deal. Now, a lawful evil character would look at this and say, well, that's not very productive. This person could be working, ergo making the digging go faster. But Ivan doesn't care, he's bored. So we're going to take this worker away from his duty to basically make him do nothing. I mean, Ivan Ooze could get a TV if he really wanted to. But he doesn't, so I don't know. It's basically Ivan doesn't care. He doesn't care. But it's not to the point where it's extreme. He doesn't like kill the worker. He doesn't like turn him inside out or something, because then the worker is taken care of permanently, like a chaotic evil person would. They wouldn't care. If they want entertainment, they'll kill like 15 people and be like, "Ah, that was nice. Let's go back to it." But this is a resource that Ivan Ooze is stopping, but not destroying. A lawful evil person wouldn't bother with this. If they wanted entertainment, they'd go do something else. But they would not purposefully slow down production of their goal just for a laugh. And a chaotic evil person would take it to the extreme. I mean, it's only one person, sure, but it's one person less to work. My point. So, later on, down the line, Ivan Ooze created what he calls his Tengu warriors, which are these bird-like creatures, and they were sent to go kill the Power Rangers who are currently off planet. Hence why they haven't stopped him doing this whole time. But basically, they come back having failed, but they relayed some information to Ivan about a woman that saved them. And uh, they ask Ivan if they want to try again, and Ivan says, "No, no thanks," and he destroys them. He flat out zaps them, and they explode. So this seems like a very chaotic, evil alignment choice to do, because, well, you just wasted a valuable resource. Sure, they may have failed, but they're alive and they're still here. They could try again, or they could support another attacking force. A lawful evil character would find a purpose for them. They do not waste resources. Ivan saw a failure, something that was broken, something that doesn't work. So he's going to find something that does, and he wants to get them out of the way so he doesn't have to take care of them, so that they don't become a hindrance later. He could just make more if he wanted to. Like, he literally just, like, spit up a pile of goo and it formed these birds. So, ergo, he doesn't care if he wastes the resource because he could just make more. So, who gives a shit? A chaotic evil person would have probably ordered them to, like, I don't know, kill each other or go find a way for them to kill themselves. But Ivan doesn't want to waste time. He doesn't want to waste resources. So he just, like, flicks his finger, zaps them, and they die. Another neutral evil trait is they don't want to waste time. They don't want to beat around the bush. Sure, they want to stop and have a little bit of fun, like with the guy that dances, but it's just a little bit, just something to stave off the boredom. Have a quick laugh. Not deviate from the project entirely. He's got shit to do. He's a busy man. Anyway, later down the line, his ectomorphicons start getting dug up. And they start to form together. And now the process becomes the parents not only have to dig up the ectomorphicons, they have to reassemble them because the ectomorphicons are in pieces. And he's only got the entire parents' population of Angel Grove to do this. He could easily, I don't know, keep those bird things around to help with production. He could spit up more ooze soldiers like he did at the beginning of the movie, or he could make more birds, or he could make who knows what the fuck else. He could do something to increase his production of the ooze bottles, of making the ectomorphicons, building go faster, anything to get them, going. But he doesn't. Why? He wants to relish in the humans' suffering, and he doesn't want to put in the effort himself. A lawful evil character would say, well, that's pretty stupid. I have these resources that would make it go very fast. Let's kick it into high gear. And a chaotic evil person would say, I don't give a shit. Just get it done. But Ivan, he's overseeing the project because he wants to watch these slaves, these mind-controlled parents, do the dirty work. He wants to relish in the power he holds over them. So he's enjoying the suffering, as minor as it is. So, eventually, the parents do work on the ectomorphicons, and they're working on the slime production line. The ooze production line, excuse me. And then Ivan does something very stupid, in my opinion. He looks at all the parents and says, thank you for your services. You have completed my ectomorphicons, but now you are of no more use to me. I'm sick of looking at your ugly faces and your dull personalities, which the dull personalities, they don't have a choice. They're being mind controlled. But he tells them to go back to the construction site and leap to their doom. He's telling them to jump off a cliff. Why? That is a very close to chaotic evil alignment. A chaotic evil person would probably just kill them all right now for the fun of it. A lawful evil person would be like, continue making ooze and spread ooze throughout the world. But Ivan stops them. He stops the production of ooze entirely, halts it. Boom. Just hits the brakes. And he tells his entire workforce, who has been mind controlled this entire time, the whole time. So there's no like time limit or control on this magic, but he tells them to go jump off a cliff, wasting his entire production line. The whole thing just stops. Why? Would you not want to spread your influence even further to weaken the resistance that could be happening? Think about it. If ooze is spread further and further and further, that's less people to fight back against you. But he doesn't care because his machines, his ectomorphicons, are complete. It's a giant scorpion and a giant hornet. I think it's rather cute and rather simple, but it is what it is. So eventually the ectomorphicons do go out into the city and they start causing chaos and havoc and destruction. And Ivan Ooze is just sitting there lapping it up, laughing. Ha ha, yeah, destroy them all. Because he wants to relish in the pain and the suffering. That's essentially what it comes down to. So, we're going to keep this one mildly short because a lot of the movie doesn't show Ivan Ooze. It's mostly telling the movie from the Power Rangers perspective and what's going on in their thing. So, but I still think he's a good candidate. So, in conclusion, who is Ivan Ooze and why does he make a good neutral evil candidate? When it comes to neutral evil, remember, you don't care about anything, but you don't want to put in the effort. You're not a schemer, you're a planner. You don't manipulate, you force. You don't want to convince someone to work for you. You're going to make them work for you. Whether through force or say bribes or blackmail or anything. To a neutral evil character, power is everything. Power is what gives you control. Power is what gives you authority. Not status, like a lawful evil character would have through being a king or an authoritative figure like a cop or a politician. No. They want power and control. That's what a neutral evil character wants in order to make sure that their evil plans come to fruition. So Ivan Ooze is about that. He also, I stopped here because I don't want to spoil the ending of the movie. There's a bit more to Ivan, but that's for you to watch. So Ivan thanks Zed and Rita for releasing him. You know, he wants to throw them a bone. He says, "How can I ever repay you?" He's willing to give them, one reward. He was trapped for 6,000 years. I mean, it's okay. He could pass him something. That's one thing. But then he betrays them in the next scene. Why? Because they're the ones in control. They're the ones that have power, and he's the one that wants the power. He doesn't want them to have power. He wants to have the power. And they have it. So he gets rid of them to get it. But he could have easily subjugated them and made them work for him. But the problem is that they could rebel or come back with other forces to betray him. So he's neutralizing a resource because it's a potential threat, which is understandable. It's understandable. You want to make sure some uprising doesn't happen. And he keeps Goldar and Morton around as kind of like yes men because they don't do squat the entire movie. They don't do a damn thing, but just hang around. Why? Because it gives Ivan something to control. It gives him something to order around. It gives him something to uh let's say manipulate in a power hungry way. You go do this. You go do that. Don't question me. Go get me a drink. You know, things like that. He doesn't threaten. He orders. He doesn't bribe. He blackmails. That is a neutral evil character. They bring harm to other people's lives because they want to. They enjoy watching suffering because it's funny. They don't go out on mass killing sprees because it's a waste of energy, it's a waste of effort. They like to plan for the long term. So Ivan was subtle in bringing the ooze to the children, who would then bring it to their parents, who would then become brainwashed and then work for him. It was a long process, but it worked. You know? So, when I say that Ivan Ooze is a good neutral evil character, what I'm saying is that you should definitely follow him around and do what he says because he knows what he's talking about. I mean, who better to lead than him? Right? You know what I'm saying, right? I mean, it's not as if he won't take care of you. It's not as if he doesn't know what's going on. So you should follow him, right? I mean, he's Ivan Ooze. He's awesome. He's an intergalactic wizard. He's the power in all the universe.